What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to be diving into another deck that I kind of put together as, we're kind of seeing how the meta develops and whatnot. And it kind of inspired based on a deck I kind of already created in my brews, though I kind of removed some of the cards that, I do think in one of my brews. Just kind of make it more two-colored mid-range style deck, and that is going to be an Orzhov controlled deck or mid-range deck. As the meta has developed into kind of a heavy black format with a lot of people playing mono black or decks that play black, I kind of want to, I dabbled a little bit into playing a little bit of black in the deck, but I really didn't, go in the same way that a lot of those decks with, going a white-black deck with the Orzhov mid-range. The goal here is what we're trying to do is we're trying to, kind of counteract what, a lot of those mono black / aggro mid-range decks are doing currently in the format. And we're trying to cause problems for those, those decks of the format overall. We are a little bit heavier on the removal just because we want to make sure we get rid of those key cards that are kind of abundant in the format. When it comes to things like Eaten Alive, we have Rite of Oblivion in the deck as another way to remove. We have, Wandering Emperor here just because people are, they'll attack with some of their creatures, and being able to exile those creatures that are problematic, like a Tenacious Underdog and things like that, is definitely something that we're trying to get rid of. As well as, Liliana is on the prowl. Restoration of Agandra is kind of an interesting card here in this deck just because, one, it helps us fix our curve. Two, we can return things on Chapter 2 from the graveyard with mana value 2 or less, which is definitely very good. Whether we get, a creature or something like that is definitely pretty good. We can even get a Meat Hook for 0 on the battlefield, technically from that ability, which definitely helps us out. And then in the long run, you get a 3/4 Vigilance creature that whenever it attacks and/or blocks, we get a creature token. The name of the game is really just, getting a lot of presence out on the battlefield because it turns off a lot of things that are good in those decks as well. We have Wed Announcements to create tokens. We have Resolute Reinforcement, just another kind of like trick play. If our opponents like maybe get a Liliana and they -2 and they see that we only have one creature on the battlefield, we flash this out at flash speed, and then we just get rid of the token. Also, we can cheat it out with a Restoration of Agandra. We can discard it to the Chapter 2 ability, get it back on the battlefield, and then get another 1/1 token in the process. We are technically Orzhov, but you do see that there is red mana in the mana base, and that's just because I do think like a card like Archangel of Wrath is really, really good. We want to make sure we have the ability to play both kickers of it, as dealing 4 damage and gaining 4 life is definitely pretty pivotal. And you can either spread the damage around, we could do it to face, we could do it to multiple creatures. I do think this is a great card. It's a flyer and it has lifelink as well, which makes it even better. In the top end of the deck, we have Liaza, Forgotten Archangel, because things like Liliana Sax and whatnot, whenever one of our non-token creatures we control dies, we get to return to our hand to begin the next end step. If an opponent creature control would die, they exile instead. So this is another key card that's going to hopefully counteract some of those, like things like Tenacious Underdog. If we get this out, Tenacious Underdog kind of gets shut down because your opponent's not going to bring it back from the graveyard until Liaza is out off the battlefield. So it's definitely, a deck that I am tweaking and still messing around with, but I figured as I kind of dive in and kind of look at, what the meta is and kind of trying to build something to kind of hopefully do pretty well with the meta, this is kind of what just kind of came up with. I don't really know where this deck idea came from. It's actually, in a weird way, if you also didn't notice, it's a little bit of an angel deck. For the most part, we are playing Liaza, we are playing Archangel of Wrath, we are playing Inspiring Overseers, and I felt like adding a couple of Giadas in here as well, just because if we get this out early and we get some additional angels out, those angels get bigger and bigger, and then Giada is definitely another way to kind of ramp out, our bigger, more expensive angels as well. Overall, I haven't played too many games with it. This is kind of like almost a first pass, so if I do make adjustments, we'll at the end of the video kind of go over those adjustments I made as I kind of, figure out where I want certain cards quantity-wise and whatnot. But with that being out of the way, let's just dive into some games to kind of see how we do. Open in hand, I feel like it's fine. We have 3 lands, we have playables. I think we're kind of ready for hopefully whatever our opponent is doing. We have our 3 colors, which, it's kind of important. I guess depending on what we draw, we could always put down our tap land first and then kind of go from there. Opponent had a mulligan down to 6. Possibly they could be an aggressive deck that they will mulligan, or they're a slower deck. We'll play our red-white land tapped. So we're playing Bant. Got it. Alright. Interesting. I actually want to build a deck around Gleeful Spell Thief just because it seems like an interesting card. Sure. Yeah, that's fine. If this works the way I think it works, then we should be in a good spot. If they want to copy it. Though I feel like getting Legend Shredder out of the way is probably key there. Sure. Looks like we're playing some sort of deck that is trying to pump the board up. We have a second land, so they're going to draw a card. They're going to get a little bit of tempo. Though we are going to be able to wipe the board. With a beat hook and make them reset. Get a couple triggers, gain a little bit of life, drain them for 1. We're both at 17. Next turn, it could be a couple of various things. We can eat an alive, which may be pretty okay. We can Aganjo here. We could wander an Emperor. I think we Aganjo. I mean, it's possible they may have a removal spell, but we're gonna take a hit. We are in a way to take a hit. I think they have like a shore up or something, as it does seem like they have some sort of reactive spell. As we see, they're gonna connive, try to pump it. So they're pretty much playing a bunch of pump spells, right? And I think the idea of their deck is that they're playing Ivy here as a way to copy those spells and get more benefit. And now it's just going to be a matter of trying to find, you know, hopefully they have enough. All right. So we're going to double connive here. Tapping out. And they get to, like, draw a bunch of cards, but they're tapped out. I think they also played a land. I think. So if they don't have if they already played their land and they draw on a land, I'm not really worried because we can always wander an Emperor with their shields down and they only have a card. So they remove the slip out the back. So they do have a card, right? So while their shields are down, we will wander an Emperor here. Get rid of their card. Turn down the momentum here. And I guess because they lost their creatures. On the play, yeah, I'm cool with this. This is the hand that's playable, so we'll play land, say go. They're playing green. I'm down with green. We'll say go. Green will also, a few tools that, make it a good deck. Sure. We'll eat their creature. I think they have a way to give shields, so I think it's probably good we just get rid of their card now before they really grow. Anything on the battlefield, swing for 1. Could use a little bit more stuff to put on the battlefield, though, because this is definitely not a spot we want to be in. Okay. I guess I just have all of the removal, but nothing else to do, which is not good in this kind of situation, right? Because they could play a 4/4 that we have to kind of figure out how to deal with. But I think we at least gain the 1 point of life. Maybe draw something. Wandering Emperor is fine. We are going to take a little bit of a hit. Gallagreators. All right, so they're playing like mono lower the ground green kind of deck. No blocks. A Ganjo's cool. I should probably wander an Emperor here unless they have a trick, right? and just kind of get rid of their creature, gain a little bit of life, make them attack into, make them attack into one or an Emperor. That's fine. They don't have anything with counters on it at the moment. They are going to be able to get a land drop here. So they'll have a ton of mana, which is, you know, not the greatest for us. I mean, will they block? If they block here, then I get a discount on my meat hook for... Thank you. Meat hook for 2? What does that do? I think I have, yeah. Just in case I have some weird pump spell. Might as well just wipe the board. Now you can sacrifice, it's fine, but I still at least killed the board, and I gain a life. And then we just got to bring it back. Sure. 6/6 is pretty scary. Need a way to deal with that. Elspeth isn't gonna do it. I mean, if they want to sacrifice this... I think I already played my land. I mean, they could sacrifice. They could have also just kept it. I mean, the thing's not doing anything by itself. Which is definitely kind of like one of those plays, right? That could have gone one way or the other. That's not going to be good enough, unfortunately. None of this is, unfortunately, good enough in this position. Unfortunate. On the play, hand's good. Have early removal. You know, Yada's not a bad card, I would say. All right. We'll just get rid of that because they could be trying to do some sort of tricks. I don't know. Sure. So Rada is an interesting card, right, to have in a monocolored deck. That's fine. I wasn't going to block anyway. I couldn't block one way or the other. Sure. Still can't block. Interesting. We'll attack again. Some stick. Not doing anything though. Not really trying to force a bunch out. I guess maybe they just assume we have like an answer.
I'm not overconfident.
I don't know why I'm in full control. Sure. So they had to play with fire this whole time, I guess. And that's like the big play. Yet again, not directing the removal at me. I'm cool with that. Also still in full control. No idea why. That's good. We're not going to force it out yet. We're just going to wait and see what they do here. We'll play reinforcements. Sure. Is that the play? That's the play. Perfect. Swinging for 1. Doing a bunch. Hitting you for 4 in the face and gaining 4. And then say go. Sure. Perfectly fine. I mean, in this position, we could, you know, restoration here. Next turn, we can get back. I'm not going to play the land because I need something to discard. We'll gain 3 or 25. Sure. Okay. I guess we're racing. We're zooming. We just got pure gas. I mean, they really can't attack here unless they have plays. Sure. We'll block. I mean, they could have 2 burn spells for all I know, right? Like, I don't know what they could have. Or not. Okay. On the play, I'll keep. I think this is a keepable hand. A little slow, but I mean, if we get to turn 3, we're in a good spot. Maybe we'll draw into earlier stuff. But typically what will happen is we'll get to turn 3 and then we'll draw our early stuff, is usually how it goes. They're also... I won't show off that we're black yet. It'll just be like a red-white deck. See what they're doing. It looks like they're also Rakdos of some sort, which is fine. Well, what an announcement here. Start to get that going. Probably 10-1 they'll play Fable the Mirror Breaker, just because that's typically what Rakdos does on turn 3. They could also Ob Nixilis, which is a possibility. Just throw that out there. I mean, that's a thing as well that they could do. But usually this is like Fable turn. Sure. I'll prevent 3 damage. I don't need to be taking 3. Maybe they're vampires. Maybe they're just a vampire pile. I don't know. There we are. Mirror Breaker. On turn like typical. I think we just kind of clog up the board. Get that going. We can, you know, next turn possibly do a bunch of other things. We could possibly Archangel of Wrath. We could keep mana open for a Wander Emperor. We also have a Ganjo mana. Also, if we go next turn, we'll also have a way to... We'll have 2/2 tokens. Sweet. So it looks like they're typical Rakdos mid-range aggro deck. Probably going to blitz it, is my assumption here. Unless I have another play. A Knob could be a play. I don't know. They're very hesitant on what they want to do here. Like, I don't know if it's attack or play something is usually where this is right now. And they're sitting on it for a minute. They're trying to think through the decision, I guess, of you know, turn 5 or turn 4. It's definitely hard. They could have also crashed. The game could have crashed, and they're just trying to get back in at the moment. I don't really know. That's your last timeout, opponent. Is it going to pass back to me? I feel so bad. Because I feel like they wanted to probably do something there, because I feel like that's a turn you do stuff on. So I won't do any... I feel like in a weird way sometimes. It's like... Well, I won't attack if I was myself, right? Even if the opponent's not there, just because they're 2/2s. Oh, they're back. Sure. I wouldn't have attacked anyway. No attacks. So they were there? I don't really know what was going on because they didn't do anything. Or they came back just long enough for a cut down. Maybe they're trying to recombobulate where they were. We're discarding to the blood token, which spells good for us, right? Because that means their harvester doesn't have multiple bloods. 5 mana. I mean, our hand's looking pretty solid right now, right? We're setting ourselves up. Sure. Underdog is fine. I mean, I have an easy block here, right? You block him with a token. Prevent 3. Okay, we're just swinging all out. We're going crazy. I mean, I will not let you have anything on the battlefield. All that for a card. Get a free land. We'll Archangel and double kick it. Kick and kick. Removal? I mean, it's probably what's happening, but... we'll get a nice 3/3 out of this. Which I think I'll take one underdog hit because I'm at 24. I'm not really worried about blocking that. And then next turn we get our big old creature that's, what, is 5/6? That will also produce creatures if it is able to attack. So all our opponent has done is Fable. Okay, regular one. Attacking one. I'll go to 21. Giada is a little awkward. Much better early play. It's kind of, I feel like, maybe the one awkward card of the deck. We'll swing in. We'll put pressure on them. They have to block their 12. I mean, their life points kind of matter now. Kind of wait and see what they do here. I mean, they could do a decent-sized meat hook, I guess, right? They can meat hook for 5. They can't technically play 2 underdogs, though. Sure.
This is my home, and I don't appreciate.
I'm gonna assume we're minus in here.
my things.
I hope you're ready.
Guards, one of your friends has to leave.
Sure. Are we creating a vampire? It is a vampire. A vampire.
You can deal with my servant. I'm busy.
There are good people in this city. I know there's a hero inside you. Remember your training.
It's 11. You're not dead. You're at 7. Say go. A lot of mana. Doesn't really hurt me, as I don't have a hand now.
Overthink things.
I don't think that's where you push, like Lily, right? Because that doesn't put you in a good spot as a player. Because you're forcing me to discard my last card, which could have also been a land, because, I mean, I'm fully loaded up on lands. I mean, I feel like they're doing this just to steeze themselves. It's too expensive. They can't take it or they're dead.
Very well.
Sure. Gain a bunch. They're at 11, right? So if I plus,
This is your fight.
we'll give it lifelink.
Win it.
If I plus, it's 8, 9.
Strike fast and
Yeah, I have lethal. Opponent goes first. Hand's okay, actually. We're setting ourselves up, actually, for Gyata into Overseer kind of turn, so I actually don't hate that. And we have our colors, so it's just a matter of what is our opponent doing is what's gonna matter. Phoenix check. Okay, so it looks like to be an aggressive deck of some sort. Don't know if it's mono red, Boros. Not really sure what the color scheme is. Could be just mono red because it's kind of like the other like popular aggro deck I think currently in the format. Infantry, sure. Yes, I mean we got a Gyata here. Kind of clog up the air. Make him use the removal. And then I think next turn, depending on what they do here. Sure. I will probably Restoration of a Ganjo is probably the best bet. Just because that guarantees us to have a land drop, and then we also get the Gyata back into an Inspire and Overseer or something, just to kind of pump. And then we also have 1 mana open after that to then also get rid of their infantry. So it's like kind of like a bang bang play. We are kind of low though, so that's the one downside to all of this, right? So I'm not saying they're going to 1 turn kill us on turn 3, but it's possible. Like there's double strike and then they can have a burn spell. And I think they're going to try their best to do as much damage as possible. Right 8. That's not a bad card. I think we get rid of one of these so we can bring back that. To play this. To play this. Go up to 9. And then I think we'll eat alive and we'll sacrifice a creature and we'll get rid of their big card at the moment. just because that gets bigger the more they play. Next turn, we set ourselves up for a possible Archangel of Wrath just to do 2 points of damage to something. That's fine. No blocks. All right, so now we have a 3/4. And then we'll play our Archangel. We'll kick it with just for black. We'll get rid of their 2/2. Gain 2 up to 7. No attacks, they go. If we untap next turn, we're in a good spot as well, because then we can whatchamacallit here. Sure. See where they put the counters. Sure. We'll double block here and wait. Yeah, we'll get rid of that one. And we'll block this one. So they can only get rid of one. And we get a token out of it, so that's good. It's just a matter of which of the two do you want to get rid of. And I think that's actually pretty awesome for us. Because now we can Elspeth, and we can plus this.
Be brave.
Give it lifelink. Swing in for 4 lifelink. Clawing our way out of this. Sure. What do we get in? What's the burn spell? A Kami Flare? We're Kami Flaring at... Sure.
You can't just push me around like the others.
We'll plus again.
This is your fight.
We'll give this first strike. We'll swing. Gain 5. Play land. Play wedding announcement. And we'll play Overseer. Nice. Gain a creature. Sure. Gonna do 2. We'll block. Yeah, I feel like they're behind now, right? Even though they have the whatchamacallit, they fell behind. Right, because now they have to put pressure on Elspeth, or Elspeth makes the game go out of control. You know, they can attack into us. We would just chump block because their creatures don't have trample. So, you know, they're going to ping us only for 2 points of damage, or 1 point of damage, I guess, since, you know, they only have one creature with counters. We are able to plus, you know, our Vigilance, lifelink, and first strike wall, essentially, which definitely, you know, even though it's lesser power than their 6/6, there's not really any way a red deck can really remove it. On top of that, next turn, we were going to be able to get a Lieza out on the battlefield, which would have just made all this much better. We could then, you know, start blocking with Inspire and Overseer just to kind of channel it back over and over again, because every time it would die, go back to our hand. Yeah, so we were definitely in a good spot in this matchup once we kind of got the lifelink and, you know, going. It just took a little bit of a beating to get there. And we are back. So, I mean, overall, I think the Orzhov Midrange deck is in a good spot. I do think there's some adjustments that the deck still needs to be made. I don't know if I'm really sold on having, like, Yada in the deck, but I do like the idea that we do play, for the most part, Angels outside of, I think, the resolved reinforcements. I do think we have a decent amount of removal. It's just kind of like finding that perfect place when it comes to removal. I end up having to like re-record some of these games, so I've kind of played a lot more of of this deck, I would say, than originally in the previous set of videos I recorded for this. The overall win percentage of the deck is definitely, you know, it's in a good spot, right? We're roughly at I think we're 63% win rate. We're 53% on the play, 63% on the draw. I think in some of those games we are kind of in that idea of where there's, we've kind of like our lands weren't where they needed to be, but for the most part we were climbing. We won 10 games, lost 6 in total with this deck since we started playing it. It's definitely not bad, right? As you play more games, you kind of figure out where your strengths and weaknesses are. As you see, one of our strengths is going to be something like a mono red or aggressive deck. Once we start to get those things out that gain us life is definitely very good. We did very well against like Izzet decks that were trying to do some Izzet things. There was a couple of interesting matchups with like a Bant deck where they had a lot of counters. Orzhov against our mirror, we did fairly well. Mono green, we played one mono green deck. Same thing with like a Gruul deck. We just weren't prepared. We just didn't have enough answers to deal with the creatures that they were doing. A Selesnya deck, I can't really remember what exactly they were playing exactly, but we did end up winning. The only thing I didn't end up playing in this whole thing was that we didn't end up playing mono black, which seems to be the more popular deck of the format. So I don't know if that's just how the matchmaker is doing it, or maybe less people are playing mono black in the lower ranks just because I'm silver. But as you can see here as well, you can see my iterations on the deck, what I kind of removed, what I kind of did, the initial deck, and then I added in Archangel of Wrath, took out a Giada. In the third iteration, we see that I added in cut downs. I took out Rite of Oblivions. It's definitely kind of cool that Untapped does have this useful tool. I don't know if it's for free users of it. I do have the premium subscription of the Untapped that I pay for. So it does give me a little bit more insight, but I'll have links down in the description below of the deck list if you want to check it out for yourself, if you want to possibly build it, maybe make your own tweaks and kind of see how you want to play your Orzhov deck. But still, nonetheless, I think that this deck is definitely in a good spot in the meta, as it does have a fair amount of answers for some of the more aggressive decks, as well as maybe the little bit more grindier matchups. Though I would say I think the removal base is just trying to figure out that perfect balance of what cards we want to have in that removal. But like I said, if you like the video, hit that like button. Definitely helps out a lot. If you're new here, you want to post new videos like this one here on the channel, hit that subscribe button. And until next time, I'll see you in the next video. Just want to give a special shout out to the channel members here on my YouTube channel. You can also become a channel member yourself down below the video, hitting that join button. It definitely helps out a lot, and I just appreciate you guys for your support.